What's up YouTube, welcome back to another video on my channel Skotrix, and today as you can see we are back on NBA 2K21 current gen for the last time ever. That's right, this is going to be my last video on NBA 2K21 current gen, and I think it's only right that for my final video I do the top 5 builds in NBA 2K21 current gen, so anybody who's planning on staying on 2K21 current gen or just wants a good build for this game, I'll give you the 5 best in this video right here. And I have done some of these builds in videos beforehand, but this is just putting them all together into one video. So you'll have one video to watch, you can look at all the builds and decide which one is best for you. So now with all that being said, without any further ado, let's get right into the video here. Alright, so we're going to be starting off with guard builds and working our way down to center builds. So first off is going to be a point guard build right here. Now for this build, you just want to make your position point guard, obviously, name, hand, jersey number, none of that matters. You can set that up however you want, then go ahead and click continue. For the skill breakdown for this build, you're going to want to go down to the shooting and playmaking one, this one right here. You want to make sure that you take this one where shooting and playmaking is perfectly balanced. You don't want this one where it's a little bit more shooting than playmaking. You want to make sure it's this one perfectly balanced between green and yellow. Go ahead and confirm that. Now for the physicals profile right here, you want to take pure speed, pure purple, the top one right here. This is the best one for most guard builds, and this build is no different. So this is the one you want to take right here. Now for the attribute and badge distribution for this build. First off, for finishing right here, you just want to skip finishing, go straight down to shooting. Don't worry, you're going to come back to finishing and you will have some finishing attributes. But first off, for shooting right here, you want to max out your mid-range, 3-point, free throw, and your post fade, and then you can bring your post fade down a few right here till you go down to 24 shooting badges, and then you just want to move it back up one, so you have 78 post fade right there, and all of your other shooting attributes are maxed out. That gives you 25 shooting badges, which is obviously a ton, and you're going to have a really high 3-pointer and mid-range to go along with those 25 shooting badges, so you'll have no problem greening super consistently with this build from anywhere on the court. But now on to playmaking right here. For playmaking, you just want to max out pass accuracy, ball handle, and post moves, and then again move your post moves down till you go down to 23, then you go one back up so you get 24 playmaking badges right there. Out of 62 post moves with your ball handle and pass accuracy both maxed out. And once your playmaking looks like that, you can go down to defense right here, max out perimeter, lateral, steal, defensive rebound, block, and then you want to go up to interior defense and put this up until you get those 8 defense badges. So this is going to be a really good defender build, considering that there's no defense in the pie chart. Once your defense looks like that with those 8 badges, you can go back up to finishing right here and just max out your driving layup to an 80 driving layup. That's what I have on my play shot. Trust me, you'll be able to finish at the rim pretty good with the driving layup at 80, and then just put your standing or close shot, up to a 63 right there with your remaining finishing attributes. And once all your stuff looks like this, you can go ahead and click continue on to the next screen. Now for body shape, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect how the build plays at all. It just affects how it looks a little bit, but you can choose whatever you want. I'll just take compact for this build. For the height, you want to go up to 6'5" right here. You can see this brings your ball handle down too. Don't worry about that too much. You're still going to get pro dribble moves with this build. Your speed also goes down a little bit. Again, don't worry about that too much. It's going to go back up. Plus, once you run on the Gatorade treadmill, you'll get +4 speed anyways on this build. So you are going to be really fast. And then some of your defense stats go up as well, which is good. So 6'5" right there is where you want to confirm it. Now for the weight, you want to go all the way down to minimum, but you don't want to stay at minimum here. You can just move it up a few pounds until you see your strength go up right there. So 178 pounds. If you move it up any further, you lose that acceleration, and you definitely don't want that. So 178 pounds right here. The only difference between this and minimum weight is that strength right there. So not a big difference, but still it's definitely worth bringing up those 3 pounds. Then go ahead and click continue. Now for the wingspan right here, you just want to go all the way down to a maximum wingspan. You can see this brings your shooting way up, +4 on both of them, so you almost have max shooting stats right here. Your ball handle goes up 1, and some of your defense goes down, but don't worry about that too much. Remember, you have 8 defense badges, and those are still pretty good attributes for defense on a build like this. So once you have your wingspan at minimum, go ahead and click continue. Now for the takeover, you could really choose whichever one you want, personal preference, and depends on your play style. Obviously, if you want to be taking ankles and dotting up your teammates, the playmaker is probably the way for you. If you want to be shooting Ticino fadeaways all game, the shot creator is probably the way for you. And if you want to be shooting deep threes all game, then the spot up shooter is probably the way for you. I'll just take the playmaker takeover for this build. Go ahead, confirm that, and boom, playmaking shot creator, shades of Steph Curry, D'Angelo Russell, and Kirk Heinrich. And there we go, that is the first build right there. Now let's get into the second one right here. Alright, so now on to the second build right here. This build is also going to be a point guard, so you want to set your position to point guard right here. But with this build, you could easily play off ball, either shooting guard or even small forward with this build. And you're going to see why I say that in a second, but then you can go down to your hand, jersey number, set that up however you want, then go ahead and click continue. Now for the skill breakdown for this build, you want to go down to the blue and red one, this one right here. Now as you can see, the attributes on this pie chart already look okay, but as we go through the next few slides, these attributes are going to go from looking okay to looking absolutely amazing. This is an amazing build, really probably the best slashing build in the game, definitely the best slashing guard in the game. So this is the pie chart you want to take right here, defense and finishing. Go ahead and confirm that one. Now for the physicals profile for this one, a little bit different than most guard builds. For this build, I do not recommend the top pie chart right here. I recommend taking this one instead, the pink and purple one. And the reason being, your speed is basically going to get up to max anyways, and since this is a slasher build, it's so much better to have a super high vertical. You can see your vertical with this one is a 95, whereas with this one it's only an 81, so not nearly as good. And since your speed is going to get up to max basically anyways with this one, you might as well take this pie chart right here, the one that's balanced between pink and purple. Go ahead and confirm that. Now for the attribute and badge distribution for this build, first off for finishing, you want to max out your close shot, driving layup, driving dunk, standing dunk, just like that. Then you can go ahead and go down all the way to playmaking. You're just going to skip shooting for now, go down to playmaking, max out pass accuracy, ball handle, and post moves. That gives you 15 playmaking badges right there. And you can see if you move anything down even one, you lose those 15 playmaking badges, so you don't want that. You want to stay at maxed out on everything for playmaking. Then you can go down to defense right here. For defense, you want to max out perimeter, lateral, steal, defensive rebound, offensive rebound, block, and then put these last 6 right here into interior defense. So that gives you 22 defense badges to go along with your 15 playmaking and 23 finishing. But obviously not much shooting on this build, but don't worry about it too much. You're not going to need to be able to shoot with this build, because if anybody leaves you open, they're probably going to be sitting in the paint to leave you open, and you can just go dunk on them when they're sitting in the paint. So it's really not a big deal. You don't need the shooting. The finishing will be more than good enough to make up for the lack of shooting. So once you have your attributes looking like this, you can go ahead and click continue. Now for the body shape, same thing as last time, doesn't matter. You can take whatever one you want. Doesn't affect the build in any way, only affects how it looks. So I'll just take slight for this build, but you can take whatever one you want. Now for the height, you want to go all the way up to 6'5" right here. You can see this moves a ton of stuff up. Your close shot and driving dunk both go up 1. Your standing dunk goes up 21. Your ball handle does go down 3, but don't worry about that. You'll still be able to get pro dribble moves at a little bit above 95 overall. So it's not a big deal. And some of your defense goes up as well, which is nice. So go ahead and confirm this right here at 6'5". Now for the weight, you want to go down again all the way to minimum weight, and then you actually can move it up 1 right here, and you see your interior defense and your strength goes up 1. So that's really good right there. 1 pound above minimum is slightly better than minimum weight, so that's where you want to confirm it for this build. Now for the wingspan right here, pretty simple. You just want to max out the wingspan, and you can see this is what I was talking about with the attributes on this build getting absolutely ridiculous. All of your finishing goes way up. You get a 94 driving dunk, your standing dunk goes way up, and also all of your defense goes up so much. Perimeter defense, lateral, steal, and your interior defense stats. So that's really good. Maximum wingspan is definitely where you want to be for this build. Go ahead and confirm that. Now for the takeover, personal preference, whichever one you think fits your play style better and what you want to be doing. If you want to be more of a lockdown, this is the way for you. If you want to be a slasher dunking on people, then the slasher takeover is the way for you. That's what I'm going to choose right here. And as you can see, boom, two-way finisher, shades of Penny Hardaway, Russell Westbrook, and John Wall. So there we go. That is the second build. Now let's get on to the third one right here. Alright, so now getting into the third build right here, we're going to be going all the way from point guards to power forwards right here. So you want to make a power forward, obviously, hand, jersey number, name, same as the other builds, that doesn't matter, set that up however you want. Go ahead and click continue. Now for the skill breakdown for this build, you want to go all the way down to the pure shooting one, pure green one, this one right here. This is going to be a stretch 4 build, obviously, and this is definitely the best pie chart for any stretch big man build. The defense and shooting pie chart just isn't as good this year. Maybe they'll change stuff up a bit on next gen, who knows, but for this build right here, you just want to take the pure green, pure shooting. That's the pie chart for you for this specific build. Now for the physicals profile right here, there really is a bit of personal preference for this depending on how you want to play. If you want to play where you have a little bit more speed and you don't care as much about strength, then you could do that. You could take more of a speed pie chart like this one here, or if you want to have a little bit more strength, you could take a strength pie chart like one of these. But I think the best one for this build is definitely the balanced pie chart. This way you get a little bit of everything, and these are going to change a bit, so don't get too caught up on them right now, but I definitely recommend the balanced pie chart for this build. Now for the attribute and badge distribution right here, first off, you just want to skip finishing, go straight down to shooting. You want to max out your mid-range, 3-pointer, free throw, and your post fade just like that. And then you can actually move your free throw down a few. You don't want to touch your post fade, you don't want to move that down. It's much better to move your free throw down so you can actually shoot post fades with this build. You can move your free throw down to an 87 right there and keep all your other shooting at max and still keep those 30 shooting badges. So that's what you want to do right here. Then you can go down to playmaking. For playmaking, you want to max out pass accuracy, ball handle, and post moves, and then you can actually move your ball handle down 1 and keep those 14 playmaking badges, so that's what you want to do right there. Then go down to defense. For defense you want to max out interior, both rebounds right here, and then your block, and then just put up your steal until you get these 6 defense badges right here, right about here to a 44 steal. That gives you 6 defense badges right here, and then with the rest of your attributes go back up to finishing. You want to max out your post hook. This is so that you can score in the post with either your 95 post fade or your 80 post hook, and then put these last 19 into your close shot right here. Don't worry about driving layup, driving dunk, standing dunk. None of those can get really high anyways, so there's no point in upgrading them up to like a 50 or maybe a 60, where they're basically just going to suck as much as if you didn't upgrade them at all. So there's not really any point. Max out your post hook and your close shot, then go ahead and click continue. For the body shape, again, doesn't matter, you can choose whichever one you want. I'll take defined. Now for the height right here, pretty simple. You just want to stay at 6'9". You don't want to go up too much or down too much because it affects your stats negatively, either for defense or for shooting and mobility, and you don't want that. 6'9" is the perfect sweet spot for this build, so go ahead and confirm that. Now for the weight, you may want to change this a little bit depending on which pie chart you picked for your physicals, but if you chose the balanced one like me, then the way to go for your weight is definitely up a bit to 270 pounds just right here, so you get +5 on your interior defense. Your strength goes up a little bit, your speed, acceleration, and vertical go down a bit, but don't worry about those too much. You're going to want the extra weight so that you can guard big men in the paint, but you're still decently fast for a big man build, so you should have no problem guarding more mobile big man builds like maybe a stretch playmaker or something like that. So for this build, 270 pounds is the perfect spot. Go ahead and click confirm. Now for the wingspan right here, I think this is best just left off at base. You don't want to move it down too much because you'll lose the defense. You don't want to move it up too much because you'll lose the shooting. I think just leave it at base. 86 inches right here is the perfect wingspan for this build. Go ahead, click continue. Now for the takeover right here, obviously a bit of personal preference. I recommend definitely the spot up shooter for this build, but if you want to be scoring in the post more, remember you got that post hookup and your post fade is really good on this build, then you could definitely take the post scorer takeover, but I'm going to take the spot up shooter for this build. That's what I recommend, but the post scorer is good in certain situations, and as you can see, boom, stretch 4, shades of Kevin Love, Antoine Jameson, and Danilo Gallinari. So there we go, that is the third build. Now let's get on to the fourth one right here. Alright, so for the fourth build for NBA 2K21 current gen, we got another power forward. So set up your position like that, hand, jersey number, name, none of that matters, then you can go ahead and click continue. Now for the skill breakdown for this build, you're going to want to go down to the finishing and defense one, this one right here. This is basically going to be a big man version of the slashing guard that we made in the second build, so go ahead and choose that one right there, blue and red. Now for the physicals profile for this build, you just want to go down to balanced, same as the last build. This is the best so that you have a little bit of everything, a little bit of strength, a little bit of speed, a little bit of vertical. All that is really good for this build, so you're going to want to go ahead and take the balanced pie chart right there. Now for the attribute and badge distribution right here, first off for finishing, you want to max out your close shot, driving layup, driving dunk, standing dunk, and then you can go back up to your close shot and move this down a few without losing any finishing badges to an 88 right there. So have your close shot at 88 and these three things right here maxed out. Then you can go ahead and go down to playmaking. Again, we're going to skip shooting for this build, just go right down to playmaking, max out your pass accuracy, ball handle, and post moves just like that. Then you can go ahead and move your post moves down 1 right here without losing that playmaking badge, so you'll have 13 playmaking badges. Then you can go down to defense right here, max out your interior defense, your block, your offensive rebound, your defensive rebound, and then with these last 51 attributes right here, you want to max out your steal and then split them between your perimeter defense and lateral quickness, something like this, so you get maybe your perimeter defense up to 58 and your lateral up to 57, or you could put your perimeter down a bit and put your lateral up, depending on what you think you'll need more for this build based off how you're going to be using it and your playstyle with it. But I think having them about perfectly balanced is probably the best way to go for me, so that's what I'm going to do right here. And you can see the final badges for this build is 22 defense, 13 playmaking, 1 shooting, and 23 finishing. So that's really good. And once you have your stuff looking like this, you can go ahead and click continue. For the body shape, doesn't matter, you can choose whichever one you want. Again, doesn't affect how the build plays, just changes how it looks. I'll take defined. For the height for this build, again, I think this build is definitely best at 6'9", same as the last build, but you could go up to 6'10" with this one. It does bring quite a bit of stuff down, and I don't think it's quite as good as having it at 6'9", but you could go 6'10" if you want. I'm just going to go 6'9" for this build though. Now for the weight right here, I'm actually going to bring the weight down a few pounds till I get that 70 speed right there at 231 pounds. This gives you the 70 speed, which is nice, and it doesn't take away much from your interior defense or your strength, so really good right here at 231 pounds. Go ahead and confirm that. Now for the wingspan for this build, obviously you just want to max it way out. Let's get your driving dunk up a ton, standing dunk up a ton, and your defense stats up a lot. So it's really good like this. Maximum wingspan is definitely the best for any slashing build. Go ahead and confirm that. Now for the takeover, obviously you can choose whichever one you want depending on your playstyle. The slasher is probably the most fun one that you could take with this build. The glass cleaner is also really good, and if you want to be a rim protector you could take that, but I'm going to take the slasher for this build. Go ahead and confirm that. And as you can see, boom, glass cleaning finisher, shades of Sean Kemp, John Collins, and Blake Griffin. So there we go, that is the 4th build. Now let's get into the 5th and final build right here. Alright, so for the 5th and final build, I'll try to go through this one quick because the video is getting pretty long right here. You want to make this one a center, hand, jersey number, none of that matters. Go ahead and click continue. For the skill breakdown, this is going to be a post scorer build, so you want to take the pure finishing one. For sure, this is the best one to take for this build. Go ahead and confirm that. Now for the physicals profile, I think you definitely want to go down to the vertical and strength. Since speed doesn't really matter for a post scorer too much, you want to have as much vertical and as much strength as possible. So this is the one I'm going to take right here. Now for the attribute and badge distribution for this build, first off for finishing you want to max out close shot, driving dunk, standing dunk, and post hook just like that. And then you can actually go back up to your close shot and move this down 10 right here to an 85 and still keep those 30 finishing badges. So once your finishing attributes look like this, go ahead and go down to shooting. For shooting, you just want to max out your post fade. That's so that you can shoot some post fades with this build if you need to. You're not going to be amazing at shooting post fades. This is really more of a post hook spamming build, but it's definitely good to have your post fade up so you have as many options in the post as possible. Now for playmaking, you want to max out your pass accuracy, post moves, and then bring your ball handle up right here to a 36 so that you get those 20 playmaking badges, which is a ton of playmaking badges for this build, so you can get all the good badges like post spin technician and stuff like that. And you have 180 defense attributes left here, so you want to max out your interior defense, both of your rebounds here, and then put these into block, and you have 9 left to get up your steal a little bit here, and that gives you 11 defense badges to go along with your 20 playmaking, 1 shooting, and 30 finishing. And now once you have your attributes looking like this, you can go ahead and click continue. For body shape, doesn't matter, you can choose whichever one you want, doesn't matter, doesn't affect the build, just affects how it looks. I'll take built right here. Now for the height for this build, you have 2 options. If you want big man contact dunks, you only want to go up to a 71 right here so that you can get the big man contact dunks. But if you don't really care about that, you can go up to 7'3" right here, and you will be an absolute post hook cheeser with this build at 7'3". So that's where I'm going to take it right here. But you could also take it at 7'1". It's a really good build at 7'1" as well. But I'm taking it at 7'3". And for the weight, you want to go all the way up, straight to max weight right here. You can see it brings a couple of your physicals down a bit. Don't worry about those too much. Being max weight with this build will make you an absolute force in the paint, and that's what you want to be, obviously, since you're a post scorer build. So go ahead and confirm that. Now for the wingspan, you just want to max this out as well, maximum wingspan. You could bring it down 1 right here and get +1 on your post fade, but you also lose 1 on your block and your ball handle. Doesn't matter, but I think maximum is definitely better than -1 for maximum. But they're both options if you want to look at each one and decide which is best for your playstyle. But I'm taking maximum wingspan for sure. And then obviously you probably want to take the post scorer takeover. You could take the rim protector, but I mean this is a post scorer build, so I think post scorer takeover definitely the way to go. And as you can see, boom, Paint Beast, shades of Yao Ming, Hassan Whiteside, and Brooke Lopez. So there we go, that is it for my final video on NBA 2K21 current gen. Hopefully you guys enjoy. If you did, make sure you like, subscribe to my channel if you're new. I'm going to be uploading daily NBA 2K21 videos as soon as next gen drops, first day out. And also I'm going to be streaming a ton on Twitch, so make sure you go follow my Twitch in the link in the description. I'm going to be streaming a ton over there once next gen drops. But anyways, that's it. Alright, peace.